I know I said I was going to do this video about 2 weeks ago, but the Lord is my strength. I shall not want.
You're now rocking with the SDC, the show them camp on yes indeed.
Welcome guys. I really miss you guys. So if this is your first time of watching, welcome to the family. My name is Precious Onwabugo. Usually at this point I will say subscribe, but I do understand that this might be sensitive for a lot of people. So what I will say is that I hope that you stick around and have a conversation with me. Stick around long enough to finish the video and have a conversation with me. And how you can do that is by liking the video, dropping a comment, and sharing with everybody else so that they can join in on the conversation. And if you just so happen to like me along the way just a little bit, just hit the subscribe button. Okay, so let's dive in. I don't want to waste any time because it might be a long video. Okay, so I do understand that this will be a sensitive video for a lot of people, and with good reasons. A lot of lives were lost in the process of the first civil war. If you don't know about the first civil war, I know our education system does not do a very good job of actually explaining the events. It's just cram the dates, just cram the dates. But I encourage every single person, thanks to the internet, to find the information about that first war. If you're watching this video, you probably already have a stand concerning Biafra. There's some Nigerians are like, it's okay, you guys can go. Who is holding you people? We don't want you. And then there are some Nigerians that are like, you know, we're in this together forever. Igbo people are also across both lines, where some people want to stay and some people want to go. Yoruba or Duduwa people are also asking for theirs. So I hope you already have like where you stand on the conversation. This video is not to encourage you to be one or the other. I'm not trying to persuade or dissuade you. You can have your opinion on it. However, this video is meant to challenge wherever stand you are on the conversation. It might help solidify your stand. It might help, you know, wiggle you a little bit on wherever it is that you stand. In full disclosure, and since we're having such an open conversation, I do want to say that I consider myself a Biafran. It's the way that I honor the lives of the people who were involved in the war. It's a part of my history as an Igbo girl, so I do very much consider myself a Biafran. However, I do not feel like I need a country called Biafra to be considered a Biafran or to identify as a Biafran. Also, I don't think the timing of any of this movement is right. However, I do understand the reasons why people would want a Biafra. I hope that we can all respect our opinions on this, because whenever I've had a conversation with my friends who are for a Biafra, I think the underlying thing is that we just all want better for our people. It's just that we have a different opinion on how to get there. So I just hope that everybody can be respectful of other people's opinion. So this video is going to be talking about three major questions. Three major questions you should be asking yourself if you're for or against Biafra. Now, there's going to be sub-questions under each of them. So I'm just going to talk about them as we go and just throw out the questions. Number one on the list of things that you should be asking yourself is all relating to Nnamdi Kanu. Now, if you don't know who Nnamdi Kanu is, he's been at the I just had a H factor. He has been at the forefront of the movement of Biafra. He's responsible for the spark that's ignited with the Biafra movement. Of course, people have always talked about Biafra, mostly passively, but since he came back in 2015, he's been waxing strong. Now, whether you're for or against Biafra, you cannot help but respect the OG of Nnamdi Kanu and the way that he's been able to just motivate people. In fact, in my entire 20-something years of living, I've not seen anyone who's been able to motivate the amount of people that he's been able to in the way that he has been able to. Actually, he even reminds me of Trump in the way that Trump has been able to use the media for just to put his message across there. Before he came back, he was the director of Radio Biafra, and after he came back, he's been consistently, the way he's been able to use the media is very fascinating to me. When he was in jail, he was still delivering messages, whether it's with the photos or the videos of the protests. Like, he's been able to make sure people know that, listen, this is real, this is real, and we're doing it. The people who didn't get the memo, of course, it's the Nigerian government, and the Nigerian government has been very vital in giving Nnamdi Kanu the sort of credit and sort of power that he has right now. Number one, Nnamdi Kanu came back and was arrested. The way he was arrested wasn't transparent. The way the entire proceeding of how he was kept, he was detained, wasn't transparent. We didn't know what was going on, and Nnamdi exploited that very much. Or whether it's with the way when the Fulani cattle rearers came into eastern states and killed people, the way the federal government dealt with that, even though people were consistently talking about it not being addressed. The way Buhari came into the power and thought, do you see how very sensitive the political climate is? Why don't I give an interview and tell the entire world, international interview, and tell the entire world how I am going to cater to the people who voted for me, way before I even look at the people who didn't vote for me, knowing fully well that most Igbo people, actually Igbo people in general, have legit reasons to not want him in power relating to the war. He thought that would be a very wonderful idea. So when I tell you that the federal government is much responsible for the sort of way that Nnamdi Kanu is going right now, believe it. Knowing all of this, can you really fault people for giving Nnamdi Kanu the sort of power that he has now? Can you understand how people would definitely go towards a leader that makes them feel like they're heard? On the other side of the conversation is, I am very uncomfortable. As much as I respect him as a motivator, as a leader, I am very uncomfortable with one person having the entire power of the movement. I'm very uncomfortable that Nnamdi Kanu is the only person at the forefront, because power that goes unchecked is power that corrupts. And we already know that as Nigerians, our forte is not picking the best leaders. And you might say, oh, that's a Nigerian problem. We Igbo people are better at it. I know we don't like to talk about it, but Ojuku ran. We have Nnamdi Kanu out there making hate speeches against other ethnicities, inciting violence against other ethnicities staying in Igbo land, saying things about getting weapons. How is it that we want a referendum, a peaceful movement, but have the leader of this movement out there giving all of these speeches that is not in line with what it is that we say we want? If there's someone that definitely needs to be held accountable, is Nnamdi Kanu, because of the sort of power that he has with representing the Biafran movement. Second question is relating to Biafra and achieving a Biafra. Now, a lot of Igbo people feel marginalized. They feel like, politically marginalized, economically. They don't feel like the federal government is paying attention to them in regards to unemployment, poverty, infrastructure, even the roads. They feel like they're not part of the country because they're not being heard by our leaders, right? So, for the people who don't see why people would want a Biafra, even though I feel like you still have to have some sort of level of empathy. So the question is, do you actually see why someone would want it? Like, is it something that actually makes sense to you why people would want to achieve this? On the other end of this is, most of the problems that I've listed, apart from being politically marginalized, is a problem that every Nigerian faces, okay? Our leaders are shitty. That's a problem that all of us can relate to. I do understand that every Nigerian, especially if your father or your mother is not in the leadership, you want some sort of way out. You want some sort of hope for the people who live in the country. You just want some sort of change. And I feel like this was manifested in the last election, where people came chanting, APC came chanting, change, 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 and everybody was like, we just need some sort of change. If there's anything we've learned from the last election, is that any sort of change doesn't work. You have to be very specific about the kind of change that you want. And I feel like Igbo people have to learn something from that. Okay, once we achieve a Biafra, what then? How exactly does that solve the immediate problem of poverty, unemployment, the average boy trying to make good quality shoes in Aba and have everybody wear? How does that actually relate to them? You're the youth clamoring for that. How does a Biafra specifically? Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't. Keep in mind that I'm asking these questions because I want you to verbalize exactly how that is. The only thing that I can think of a Biafra solving is being politically marginalized. And let me explain one example of why I feel this way. Right now, a lot of responsibility and blame is being placed on the federal government. But usually, every state that does good, every state that I know that is doing remotely okay, it has been because of their state government doing what they were elected to do, even if it's just small. Lagos State and Fashola, even like with Donald Duke and how he was able to sort of plant the seed of tourism, and everybody after him was able to build on that. Where is the blame, or where is the responsibility that we're putting on our state government and the problems that Igbo people face? State government who are Igbo people. Now understand that the state government that we have now, the people who make up that government, are going to be the same people leading us under Biafra. And you say, no, it's not going to be the same people. It's going to be the same people because they have the wealth, they have the means, they have the experience, and they have the connection. The way the budgeting works is states gives their budget, and the federal the government approves of the fundings. Now, 5 out of 10 of those states, 5 out of 10 of the states that receive the highest budget are from south areas. I believe it's River State, Cross River, Akwa Ibom, Delta, and one other states. And I'm listing the states because apparently they are part of a Biafra, which leads me to the other question. Have we decided on what states are going to be in a Biafra? And how do we get to this conclusion? Is there like a survey going on to see if people want to be part? Because apart from the eastern states, I don't know how many other states are really want a Biafra. And Nnamdi came out with a statement the other day saying that they gave him all of the eastern states for a Biafra apart from River State and Benue. And he said that they gave him all of the eastern states, but he said that he won't accept it if they don't give him Rivers and Benue. And this is what I mean when I say we can't have one person making the entire decision on what it is that we want as Biafrans. Another thing he apparently has rejected is the idea of structuring. The idea of restructuring is taking power from the federal government and giving more power to the state government. And from what I have seen and I have read so far, a restructuring, if we actually clamor towards that and protest for that, a restructuring will probably solve a lot of the problems that we have, as long as we hold our state government accountable. Because if more power is given to the state, and this is one thing that a lot of people who want to Biafra say is that, eastern states, have oil, and yet we're not doing well. So the thing with restructuring is that it gives you more power even over the resources and the budgets the resources that your state generates. So a lot more power will be onto the state government. And this is directed to sort of the people who say Biafra is not the solution. If you think it's not and you feel like restructuring might be a better alternative, what exactly are the steps that we can take towards that, and what can you do personally to achieve it? Now, number 3 is regarding a referendum. Referendum. Every single time, like I said before, someone says, you guys are pushing for a war, you will soon get it. No, why can't we ask for a referendum? After all, the UK and Scotland did it. Why not us? And it's like, when has anything that worked in the UK ever work that way here? Right? The main answer to that question is one of the problems that I have, well, most of the problems that I have with Biafra when it comes to being vague on details, communication lacking, and timing. Now, what is not being said a lot of times concerning a referendum is that it's not about the federal government not setting a date to get the referendum. The main issue is that our constitution does not have a provision for referendums, for a referendum. I like saying that. The first question is, why don't we have a provision for a referendum? In fact, our constitution is very, very vague. Actually, it does not cover a lot of things. Example, the fact that our president is still out of the country, our constitution doesn't have any provision for that. Till now, leaving the fact that we already had one sick president that stayed out of the country, named Yaradua. Now, on the other side of the argument is, what are the steps that we're taking to make this amendment? Now, protesting is good, okay? But if you want an amendment to a constitution, it goes beyond protesting. And this is what I mean when I say timing. If you peacefully want to have a referendum, you have to be ready to play the long game. And this is not when Nnamdi is saying we're not going to have a governorship election till we have a referendum. This is going to take a really long time if we're really being real with ourselves. Like, I'm not a political expert or nothing, but from what I know already, I understand that making an amendment to a constitution is going to take a long time. You have to have allies in the National Assembly, in the State House, National Assembly. I hope those are the right places. For you guys that want a Biafra, are you asking these questions? If you are, that's good. I feel like there's so many steps that we have to take way before, and this is why I say timing, way before we ask for a Biafra. In my opinion, and feel free to disagree with me, I think that if the states, on the state level, we are more independent from the federal government and from Nigeria, it will be easier to get a Biafra when the time comes for a Biafra. Anyway, we've come to the end of the video. If you like the video, make sure to like it, make sure to share the video, make sure to subscribe. Please leave a comment. In fact, if you can answer some of the questions that I've asked in this video, if you can answer some of the questions in the comment section, that will be great. And also make sure to check out Kinda Ninja. I am the owner of the blog. Please check it out. The last piece that I did is on if religion is holding us back. I hope you check out that piece. Please check out the website, and I really do love you guys. Like, I really do love you guys.